And maybe also with all this experience, could you share some details of a project you had recently where you really made a difference for your client?
Yeah, absolutely. Only one? I'll give you a couple.
Okay,
How about that?
that's
So
okay.
I'll mention one customer we have, which is one of my projects based in Switzerland. So the company's name is Nuglass. You can look them up. They're one of our references. Great customer. I've been working with their founder and CEO, Luc, all the way back since the beginning of 2023. So Nuglass has built this technology based on lasers that enables them to essentially cut this thin metal layer that you find in the middle of windows.
Okay.
So most windows, especially on like trains, for example, will be double paned or triple paned even, and they'll have a thin coating of metal that is invisible to the eye, but that helps with retaining heat inside of the train. But one of the side effects of that is that this makes the train a Faraday cage, and it means that you can't actually get mobile frequencies inside the train. So if you've ever suffered from terrible internet connection while on the go, on a train, or even in buildings, for example, too, it's because of this thin metal sheet that's between the windows. And so Luc and the team at Nuglass, they've invented this technology that enables them with lasers to basically treat train windows while they're still on the trains and make a small pattern that is cut out of those windows that then enables the mobile frequencies to come in. So you get cellular connection from the outside, and that still retains the heat, kind of maintenance properties of the window. So you get all the benefits of getting the mobile signal in, but none of the loss of the heat retention. And so it's really this kind of sweet spot in this technology that they've built. And so they came to us in early 2023 saying, hey, we have this technology. And they were looking at working with SBB, the national train provider in Switzerland, to actually start doing some proof of concept projects and then eventually treating trains and train windows and things like that. But they needed obviously an ERP system to manage that. And so what we did for them is we built a completely custom module that allows them to track the identity of the trains, the train cars, and the windows within each of the trains. And they really needed a structured manner of doing that because every time they get a train to treat, it's a different one. So like every day, you show up to the treatment site, and then every day you randomly have a different train available for maintenance. And so they'll do maintenance, like they'll maintain the parts that connect the two train cars together. They'll do cleaning on the inside of the train. And during that process, they'll also have the Nuglass team come and do the treatment of the train windows. And so what that means is that you need a way to kind of register the identity of all the trains with the different configurations of train cars and windows so that when your team shows up to work, regardless of what train is in front of them, they know they can identify that train and then they can start treating the windows and registering the treatment of the windows. So we created that train module for them, which we then integrated with the Odoo-based field service app. And we have some custom workflows through there that enable them to treat all the train windows, get signatures just like you would on any field service task. And then eventually we have some custom reporting for them on the invoicing side where everything that's been signed off on then gets consolidated into some pretty sleek reports that they then send to the train companies and the cellular providers to get paid. And so we've helped them develop that workflow back in 2023. And what I can tell you is this company and like Luc and the Nuglass team for sure, they're very happy they skipped that very painful Excel phase because that's what they were considering. They were considering Odoo or Excel, and they really thought that maybe it would have been an overinvestment or it would have been an outsized solution. Like Odoo would have been too complex compared to what they needed. And what I can tell you is more than 2.5 years later, now that they have several sites operational, not just in Switzerland, but also in France. And they're bidding for different train window treatment projects across many different countries in Europe, including with Amtrak in the United States. What I can tell you is they're very happy that they have a structured way of doing it. And every time they need to deploy a new site and get a new operational manager and train operators, they have a simple user interface and a simple workflow through the field service app that leads naturally into their invoicing. And so they've been able to scale, and now they've been treating thousands and thousands and thousands of train windows over the last 2.5 years with very few issues. If anything, the main pain point has been change management and training, as it always is. But they're very happy that they have a system that enables them to do full traceability. And so that implementation was in V16, and we'll be migrating them to V18 or V19 later this year.